everybody, I'm Heidi with Heavenly Minded Homemaker, and welcome back, you guys. We are wrapping up our third week here as we have been working on a biblically based and minimalist minded approach to the FlyLady system. This is my control journal here. We have been building our control journals, adding to them. Today I want to go ahead and just kind of run through and make sure we've got everything in here and then finish up the last little part, because starting next week, videos won't come out every day. I'll probably only do 2 or 3 a week. But we're gonna start bringing in the kids. So we've started off by getting a routine in place, kind of looking at ourselves and making sure we are on point with doing these things, getting our priorities in line, putting our kind of system together, again, so that we're making these small, simple, intentional steps that add up to make a huge impact in our home and our lives. So we've gotten started with this. Next week, we're gonna start adding in the kiddos. We're gonna start diving deeper into the different zones and areas. We're gonna get everything decluttered and minimized down, and then we can start jumping into some nitty-gritty cleaning type stuff. So this is my control journal here. I have the miniature size one. When I make the kids ones, the kids are the full-size one. I have all of my forms that I've made for myself. I have them linked down below. So if you guys want to go and you want to grab the same, you can do that. On the front here, I just put a scripture verse. Part of our thing that we're doing is making sure we are committing different scriptures to memory. And so I have one here. So every time I get it, I can just read it. The more and more I say it over and over and over, I start to remember these things. So I've got here in mind just a little walkthrough. I have a printable here to keep track of the scripture that I'm reading, because we want to make sure that we are reading our Bibles for at least 1 hour each day. We are spending time studying scripture for at least 30 minutes. We're reading the Bible together as a family, and then again, committing these scriptures to memory as we run across them. So I've got that to keep in track there. I have my morning routine. First and foremost, I rise in prayer. Get dressed to shoes, right? As soon as my eyes open, I pray. As soon as I get up, I go in the bathroom, get dressed, ready to go. I swish and swipe the bathroom while I'm in there. That's wiping down the counter, giving a nice little polish onto my beautiful new faucets, because we're just about finished with renovating our bathroom, which is really exciting. And then I go ahead and swish out the toilet and give it a quick little scrub every morning. Takes me a minute while I'm in there. I just kind of do the whole thing. I come out, I make our bed, so that way the bed is nice and made. So even though there's like saws and screws and all these things down here with the construction process, I look over there, my room is nice and put together. And then I go out, I enjoy my morning cup of tea while I fold the day's laundry and start listening to my Bible scriptures. So that's what I have for my morning routine. And then my afternoon routine, all of us, we should have 15 minutes of decluttering. So every afternoon, set the timer for 15 minutes, pick a spot, go clear it out, right? Get everything out of there, wipe it down, only put back the things you absolutely positively must have. Let everything else go. Stop holding on to excess. Stop storing your treasures up here. Our treasures to be stored in heaven. Let it go. Let it be a blessing to someone who truly is in need. And then I said yesterday, let's go ahead and make our what's for dinner list. So I have here in my afternoon routine, I've given myself every day of the week, so that way I can write those in there each month and help me keep that kind of organized and together. I also write it on our family calendar, so that way our family can see what's to eat each day, because I assign each day of the week for the whole month a meal item. So I do that so the family can see, but sometimes I need to have it here in my book so I can keep it together. And then I work in my additional, like when I'm doing my 15 minutes decluttering, I put my earbud in, I listen to Bible time then. I kind of work those things in throughout my day. And then before my bed routine, that's when I get my shower. I put out a hot spot. So that's 2 minutes. You set your timer at the end of the night. Any place that's one of those hot spots where clutter just attracts throughout the day, set your timer for 2 minutes, go over there, clear it all out, get it taken care of. I start my dishwasher, shine the sink. That's making sure everything is emptied out, right? It's been put into the dishwasher. I wipe it out with a microfiber cloth, and then I give it a nice shine with a dry cloth. So that way when I wake up, it is nice and ready to go. I go over to start my vacuum and start the load of laundry that's going to wash overnight. And then I also swish and swipe the kids' bathroom in the evening as part of my routine. Again, all of these routines, it might seem like a few things, but all of these take literally just a couple minutes to get everything completely done. And then, of course, I pray myself to sleep. I shared with you guys how we have the different zones that we will start getting into, and I have gone from zone to zone in our house and looked around at what are the things I need to do to clean each of these spaces, like a spring cleaning from top to bottom. What would I do in those spaces? So I have all of those in there ready to go. And then I shared with you guys, but I did add a little thing, a calendar space in the back of mine, which helps for me keep everything here in one place. So with ministry, with homeschool, with just home, bills, all of the things, all right here in this one handy dandy little tool. I even have a little pocket. So I've got Post-it notes and my pins and everything in there. Lifesaver. So nice. My husband jokes and he calls it my life. He goes, look, there's your life in your folder. So that's all the things that we have done so far this month, implementing all of these little intentional steps. So if you missed any of the days, you ever need to kind of reboot and go back and restart, they're all there for you. Go ahead and do so. Today, we're going to kind of finish wrapping up. I told you yesterday to talk with your family and see what are the meals that your family would like to have, right? Write them out. Are you going to have the same menu every week? Are you going to do like 2 weeks worth and then just rotate it? Whatever you want to do. Monthly is the ideal to get to because you guys, it makes life so easy. But if you want to do like every couple weeks, however you get paid, whatever works best, right? Plan for that. So yesterday you should have come up with your food items. I shared with you guys, we do very simple breakfast, very simple lunch, and then we have like one main meal that I plan for each day. So breakfast is like oatmeal, some fruit, maybe some toast. We have one day a week that I make a big breakfast, but other than that, it's very, very simple. Lunch is either leftovers, a sandwich, smoothie, salad, something like that. And then I make like the big dinner meal. So today we're going to put together a monthly grocery shopping list. Again, if you're not going to do this for the whole month and you're going to do it for 2 weeks, or maybe you go to the store all the time so you're aiming for 1 week. If you need to do that, that's okay too. The point is to be more efficient so that we're getting more things that we need and we're not having to run to the store so often. The more and more you run to the store, the more and more money you're going to end up spending. And also, the less you plan and put this together, the more likely you are to just end up getting fast food or some kind of junk that really isn't nourishing for your bodies. So we want to make sure that we're feeding ourselves and our families food that is truly going to nourish the bodies that God has given us, right? And most of the junk that's out there, if it comes packaged with a bunch of stuff, that's not stuff God made. That's stuff we came up with, right? We want to nourish our bodies and take care of them. So you have your list of all of the different things. I want to remind you, the more simplistic your menu is, the easier and less expensive it's going to be. The more you're adding on there, all of the different sides, all of the different options, things like that. Number one, you might get a little burnt out because you might go into this thinking, oh yes, I will cook all of the things every day. And realistically, that's probably not going to happen if that's not something you do already. Sorry, I got bit by a mosquito right here and it is driving me bananas. I'm trying not to itch it, but it's really hard. So anyways, if the more simplistic that you make your menu, the more cost effective it's going to be. So for us, I usually have like a side with our meal. And that's where I kind of look at what we are consuming when I look at the menu. So I make sure that I'm adding in some green veggies, or I need some fruits over here, or whatever the different things are to make sure that we have a well-balanced thing. But I don't also necessarily try to cram everything into one day. I kind of look at the menu across the board for the whole week's worth. What are we getting? What do we need extras of that I can kind of pick and pull into that? So sit down and think about that, but definitely streamline it. You don't need a ton of sides. You don't need a ton of options. If we're trying to make this simple, we're trying to make this frugal, just simplify it down. It's going to make life a lot easier, I promise. So you might want to stop and look at that. Sometimes I know we can get on Pinterest or different things and see all these different things people bring in, and you just want to do all of the things, and realistically, it's probably not going to happen. So let's just calm down a little bit and maybe stretch those out, streamline that a little bit more. Also, if you're not in the habit of cooking every single day, if you start making all of this stuff and this is new to your family, you're probably going to end up with a lot more leftovers than you were expecting. So definitely look at like portion sizes and how much you're really bringing into the whole meal with all of the extras and the sides. So the more just simplistic that the menus themselves are, that the meals are that you are making, the less you're going to need, the more cost effective it's going to be. And then the easier, you're not spending forever, making it, you can make it, be ready, and go. I know for us, we're looking at a lot of things that we are either making outside on the grill or using the Instant Pot for. So that way, less heat being produced in the house with the months getting warmer and warmer here. So that's what we've got a lot. I'm looking for. We're big on smoothies, salads, and then things that either, like I said, throw into the Instant Pot or can go out on the grill. If it can be cooked on a grill, that's usually where you'll find us. We love the grill. So for your menu now, so you've picked out the different items for whatever you're going to do, 1 week, 2 week, the whole month. You've picked out your items. So now what I usually do is you can do it here in your control journal if you want to have a page. I have some just lined paper in the back of mine, and that way I can write out each of the meals. For our family, we have 5 rotating meals. There's 2 other days of the week. I know what those are. One is pizza and the other is our Sabbath meal. We do the same thing every week for our Sabbath meal. So I have that down, right? I know what's for that. For the other days, what I do is I start by writing out each of the dinner menu items that we are going to be making. So I could put like spaghetti, cheddar, I'm thinking of pastas, fettuccine Alfredo, Caesar salad, whatever it is. Write down the things that you're going to be making on the list. Then next to them, start writing in all the ingredients that you need to make that one menu item, okay? So spaghetti, I'd write down, I need the pasta, I need sauce, I need meatballs, whatever it is that you are making for that, write every ingredient down. You don't necessarily have to have the measurements. You could do like, 1 stick of butter or something to kind of help you keep track of that. But go ahead and write out the ingredients for each item. Then, now that you have everything laid out on the piece of paper with all of the meals that you're going to make this month or these 2 weeks, however long you're going to aim for going here with this grocery shopping plan, you're going to go ahead then and multiply them. So you can pull up, for me, I usually will go ahead and pull up my calendar, right? So I know there are 5 Mondays in the month of June. So whatever the Monday meal is, I know I need to multiply that by 5 to have enough to make for the whole month. So I will go through Wednesday, there's only 4 Wednesdays, so I only need to, do Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, by 4. So I will go through and multiply out how many of each of those things that I need. And then I will transfer that over and write it out on a separate sheet. So I know that I need, 3 boxes of spaghetti. I know, blah, 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 blah. So go through and figure out what all you're going to need to make all of those things that many times to get you through the time period that you are trying to shop for. Does that make sense? So go ahead and write out your list of how much you need for those things. And then also, like for us, I get 1 canister of oatmeal per week. So I always get 4 of those. I get 1 loaf of bread per week, whatever it is, right? And calculate those things out. I know that, we usually will drink, my kids will usually consume about half a gallon of milk every 2 days. So then I can calculate out, all of those types of things. So sit down and just kind of think about that. If you've never bought in bulk like this, to kind of stretch that out, you might have to tweak it a little bit, and that's fine. It's all a learning process. Our family does this a lot, so we kind of have it down to a science. But sit down and start thinking about the things that you use and that you need and about how often you have to replace them. And then if you're getting ready to shop for a week's worth, 2 weeks worth, or the month's worth, you know how many times to multiply that by in order to give yourself enough to last through the whole time. I'm going to link the other videos I've done this whole process from start to finish, again, doing a monthly grocery shopping trip, so that way you can see more about it, because I know there's a lot of questions. And if you have some that still aren't answered, please ask away. I'm happy to answer any we can. I go then, once I have my list put together, that would give you guys this weekend if you wanted to implement it for the month of June. Or start whenever you find it. It really doesn't matter. The less trips you're making, the more money you're saving, and the less you have on your plate. So start whenever you can. Any of it's going to help. But if you're putting together a menu plan, kind of figure out the foods that you want, list out what all you need to make those foods, then you have that master shopping list. Go to the store, get those things that you need. Again, being able to buy in bulk, get all the stuff together, it really makes a difference. I do things with like our produce and stuff like that. I get some stuff that's just fresh produce. Those are the things that we will usually eat first. Also, Pinterest is a great thing to find different ways to store the different fruits and vegetables to make them last longer. There are great tips and tricks of being able to do different things like that to help things last longer. All of the greens for our smoothies I put in the freezer. Lettuce that we're eating for salad I take and I put in a glass like mason jar and put a lid on it in the fridge. That keeps it a lot longer. So many tips and tricks and things like that. So pick out the things that are fresh. Those are the things that you're going to want to eat first, so that way they don't go bad. And then later in the month, we eat a lot more frozen fruits and vegetables to help kind of balance that out. So yes, I can get all of my produce in one monthly grocery shopping trip, but will usually be doing more frozen stuff later in the month where we have more fresh stuff in the beginning. Also, sometimes I do make a second trip when I am monthly grocery shopping. Sometimes we need more of something. Okay. Back again. So when I get back with everything, right, once I've gone and gotten everything, I will take it and I will mark it. So I will look again at that master list with all of the different menu items and their ingredients. And on the ingredients for that, I will write 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 if there's a 5th week. That helps me to keep them organized, so that way I am using just what we need for each meal. So like our canisters of oatmeal, I will write 1, 2, 3, 4 on them. So that way each week we know that that's what we have allocated for the week. So that way we don't jump into the second week. We kind of ration our stuff out accordingly. The same thing like if I buy a bunch of chicken, I will write, week 1. And if I have multiple chicken dishes that week, I can write like week 1 grill, week 1 pasta, or whatever, just to help me keep them organized. So that way, again, I'm using what I've bought for. So you listed everything out of what you needed for each day, for each menu item. You want to make sure you're using what you've allocated for that. That will help you keep it together. Again, if you're shopping for a whole month, this takes a little bit more time. If you're doing this for a week or 2 weeks, this will be really simple. It'll just take a few minutes when you get in. I really honestly have found though that as we bring the groceries in, to stop and separate and I get my Sharpie and I mark it down real quick while I'm doing it, it makes a big difference to keep everybody organized. And then that way too, if kids are going in and getting into the fridge, or my husband's getting into the pantry and they see I've already marked on it what it's for, it's like, ooh, don't touch that one. So I do get a couple things that are just kind of like open snacks. I always have some fresh fruits and vegetables and things that they can easily grab. We have one drawer in our fridge that all of that's in, that they know that's when it runs out, it runs out, but you can go and you can grab something out of there. So that kind of helps with that. And then everything else that's been marked is allocated to go to a meal. Don't touch it. It's basically how that works. So that's what we do to kind of put the system together. So I would encourage you guys, if we've already picked out our meals yesterday, to go ahead and let's plan, even if you want to dive in and try 2 weeks instead of a whole month, where you can plan out what you would need to make those meals for the 2-week period. And then that way, when you go grocery shopping, you can just get everything that you need, come home, maybe put a little label. I just write with a Sharpie right on the item, but go ahead and just write on the label what it is that you're using that for, week 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that way, when it comes to the what's for dinner game every afternoon, you don't have to play it because you know what's for dinner. And if you've added in the little printable sheet here, if I can turn to the right tab, you already have it written down in there. And then that way it is super simple. You can say, hey, today's Tuesday. I know what we're eating, right? Everything's done, easy, put together. So that's that. Like I said, more things linked down there. If you guys want more details as far as the whole big grocery shopping trip, I have vlogged before our entire process from start to finish, so you guys can watch all of that. If you have any questions, reach out and let me know. Also, I know one of you reached out to me and said, hey, what about if we share some of our recipes? They're going to reach out to the church and ask for our church to share different family recipes and things, so that way we can even compile them together and share that. I thought that would be really super awesome. So if you have a favorite recipe that your family loves, be sure to share that down in the comments. We'd love to see what you guys are eating. Even if you've shared, hey, we're going to do, assign each day of the week a food item, and this is what we're doing for the next month or 2 weeks. Go ahead and share that. We'd love to see what everybody's doing, and then we can all get some different ideas as well. So hopefully you guys are doing good. Keep up on your routines, morning, afternoon, and evening. It only takes a few intentional minutes. It makes such a difference. Hit your decluttering, hit your hot spot, get up, get dressed to shoes, right? Do these things because it does have a huge impact. And then next week we will be back and we will start diving into bringing the kids in and the weekly home blessing hour and kind of diving into these zones and really getting into some of this nitty-gritty stuff. So all of that is coming. I am praying this is blessing you all. Of course, you are all welcome to come and join us. My husband does online church services each weekend, so we've got that. We are in Matthew. We're getting into the parables, which is really exciting. So all of that stuff, it's all linked down there in the description if you guys want to come join us. Otherwise, have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you guys next week. Bye, all.